What's up, everybody? This is Mark from Solar Games with Dominaria Remastered coming in next week. Looks like maybe we have hit a bottom in the price fall of Dominaria Remastered. So far, what I'm seeing on TCG Player, Amazon, across the board is around that 170. I think bottom is like 172 right now on TCG Player. It may dip a little bit lower, but you're at a point where, I mean, it's so low after fees and shipping for most stores, there's no reason to sell because they're making zero, right? If the price that they pay to distribution to purchase the products. And even for Amazon, I mean, sure, Amazon probably can get a little bit more because they're direct to Wizards, but even then, you know, you get to a point where you don't want to undercut, especially in a remember guys, this is the thing too. This is pre-sale. This isn't like the product's released, everybody has general availability. This is pre-sale. So the order quantities are limited, the whole supply should be limited, and we're already seeing a dip. But the good news is so far, what I've seen the last week or so, it's kind of gotten to this point and really hasn't dropped any lower. So like I said before in my last video about this subject, I think Dominaria Remastered is like Time Spiral Remastered. It looks like we're mixing a lot more sets in. It looks like some of the reprints are very good and very heavy. I mean, you know, kind of looking at what's available on the list, those should be really good, and that should hold the box prices up long term for the future. There's going to be fun, interesting variants, so for the people who are chasing collectability, they're going to have that as well. The collector's boxes do look pretty limited quantity. I suspect in a perfect situation, this is going to be closer to like Commander Legends, but I feel like Wizards has learned that there is a minimum amount of boxes you print forever because they don't want to have another Commander Legends 1 collector's booster situation where the boxes, you know, skyrocket because they didn't print enough for the supply. Again, the reason they don't want the price to skyrocket is because they don't want to leave money on the table. It's pretty obvious, right? And as far as what they've done with Brothers War, right? So because we know that there is a certain amount of supply that has to be in the market, so there's one of two things has happened. One, it could be that the supply is actually being gobbled up by people, which I do believe is happening. I think Brothers War is being purchased and opened and collected and saved by a lot more people in the market than previous collector boxes. However, I do also think that Wizards has a hand in here where they are shipping less to distribution. The reason I say this is because most distributors still continue to have Brothers War collector's boosters. Now, they may limit your quantity with how many you can order. It's curious that they, week after week, they still have a supply. What happens with products that go out of print or they run out is they just don't have any more, or they'll sell you like one. Like if you request Warhammer decks, for example, right now those are going through reprints. The distributors do not have any, right? And they've emptied their supply. So what that looks like is you can go to them and you can order. Sometimes they'll say zero. Sometimes they'll put you on back order. Sometimes they'll be able to give you one per week. So they're limiting the quantity severely for those products that actually have run out, right? Whereas Brothers War, you can buy some, but you can't buy all of it. So what this tells me is that there's a lot of supply manipulation, which again, because Wizards understands that you understand there are a certain amount that are in the market, and there's no way that these just kind of evaporate and disappear. So they have to slowly trickle it where you kind of have this feeling like, oh, maybe everyone else is buying it up. What that's going to mean for things like Brothers War collector's boosters going in the future? Not really sure, right? Maybe if they continue to trickle this thing out slowly, then it's fine. It's going to keep the price stable and as much product's going to be consumed as there are available on the market. But I suspect shortly after Phyrexia, shortly after March of the Machine or Aftermath, around that like April to June era, the majority of the Brothers War collector's booster will be dumped back on the market, and you should see a price drop around that time. Again, look, I don't know everything. This is not financial advice. This is what I think. Given how much quantity should be on the market, given what we've seen with every single collector boosters, once they dump the rest of the inventory out, I have no faith that, you know, I wouldn't pay $200 for Brothers War collector's boosters. I know they're special. I know they have serialized cards. I understand that long-term value-wise, they're higher than other collector's boosters. But just again, given the history, given all these pieces, there's no reason to take a risk when you don't have to, right? You can put money, like here's what I would do, right? If you have $200 to burn, I wouldn't buy a Brothers War Collector's Booster. I would go buy Dominaria Remastered Draft Booster Box. 2 reasons. 1, you can play with it. Worst case scenario, the thing tanks. You just invite friends over, you play it, and then you get some cool cards you can use for Commander. Great, right? Second, because honestly, 1 has kind of bottomed already. Look, at this point, yes, there's always a chance that somebody's going to sell Dominaria Remastered at a loss, okay? Sometime in the future. Look, can it hit 150? Can it hit 120? Maybe. But right now, it's not looking like it. But at the same time, it is a little bit finicky because, again, pre-order prices dropping to 170 is pretty scary. And the fact is, remember, these were selling for 225, 230, almost 250, and 280, I think, on Amazon at one point. So that price swing is way too large. And okay, look, I'm not claiming that I know anybody bought at 280 or 250 or even 230. I think actually a lot of people, I think on eBay sold listing, I can find a bunch of 230, 250 purchases for Dominaria Remastered last year during Christmas time. However, I will say they're not worth that right now. And how many of those orders have been canceled or refunded or whatever, right? We don't know. So what I'm going to say for Dominaria Remastered is it's a wait and see. Look, we're never going to know when Wizards is going to pivot the ship. When they're going to say, hey, we've made a mistake, we're going to cut print runs, whatever, to stabilize the market. Like I said on episode 1 of Solo Games Fixes WotC, they're going to do that. They're going to, how they do it, I have no clue. When they do it, I have no clue. But I know for sure, for them to right the ship, they have to adjust to market and they have to maintain stability. Because if they lose market stability like they did last year, with people who have expectations at every single draft booster, every single standard set, every single set, in fact, being dumped on Amazon for 50% of MSRP, they're not going to be able to command that kind of price. They know this, we know this, everyone kind of knows this. So they're, of course, going to have to change course. Now, the smart thing to do is say nothing. You don't talk about it. You don't say that you're going to do anything, and you just do it silently. And maybe that's what they're doing with Dominaria Remastered. Maybe they're doing that as a bait and switch. We have no clue. Maybe they're not doing it. Maybe they're just limiting supply. Meaning maybe they print, let's say, I don't know, let's just throw a number out in the air, 800,000 draft booster boxes, and they're releasing only 100,000. So 1/8 of that at pre-release. So it looks very scarce, but it's actually a lot more plentiful in the warehouse. We have no clue. And because it's not a collector's booster, it's not a master set, where it's a 1 print run and done, they can always print more as well. And this is what I was saying before. Like, there's no reason to overprint in the beginning and potentially put yourself in a hole and then have to fire sell the rest of the inventory. Just print enough. And look, you can say, look, okay, how can Wizards know enough? To be honest, if you're running this business for 30 years and you've been selling to players and all this data is coming in from stores and distribution of how things are selling, what things are not selling, and you're designing the cards, you have an idea of what cards you put in the game, you better damn well know what enough is, right? Look, you're not hiring all these statisticians, mathematicians, whatever, to go calculate futures and whatever. They know. They know how their market's going to land on the market, what demand's going to look like, what supply's going to look like, what the long-term range of all their cards, price-wise is going to look like. They know all this stuff. They may not talk about it, but they know it. They may be wrong also, but they know it. They have data. And when you're wrong, all you have to do is go back. The data is still real, right? It's not like, oh, I was wrong and then all the data is wrong. The data's there. It just gave you the wrong conclusion. All they have to do is go back, recrunch the numbers, and go figure out for the future what to adjust. And here's the thing. Look, it's been a year and a little bit now since Midnight Hunt. And they know they royally screwed up on Midnight Hunt. In fact, that screw up has been happening since AFR even. Do you remember? See, the thing is, we've been talking shit about AFR or Midnight Hunt and Crimson Vow, but the reality is all the Amazon dumping stuff actually happened around AFR, right? So even as going back as far as Adventures in the Forgotten Realms, people were like, oh, and these products were first dumped. If you recall, that was the first collector's booster that really tanked, right? Well, that's actually not true. I guess Kaldheim also didn't do so well in Strixhaven, but I think Strixhaven's supply was actually not as high. And maybe it was absorbed by the market better than other sets, right? Kaldheim with Snowlands and things like that did hold price pretty well. And before that, Zendikar Rising was the overprinted set, but it wasn't really overprinted. It was more because they added the set booster product line. So it just ingested more general products into the market. It wasn't because it was actually overprinting one specific line like draft collectors, etc. But AFR was the first one, if you recall, to be officially dumped on Amazon, to be officially like dumped by a lot of stores too. It was, really low. So it has been a year and a half, almost 2 years for Wizards to go take in the numbers, understand what happened, and adjust for it. And I think they are making those adjustments because, again, they're looking at their schedule. They're seeing that they're going to have to release more product. And I suspect what Wizards' strategy is going to be is because, look, they already have all these products in the pipeline. There's no reason for them to delay it. It's like content creation, right? If I make 10 videos, I'm not going to go and hold these videos up for 10 months and release them over time because I know a lot of the videos and whatever won't be relevant anymore. You want to quickly release those videos once you create them. You want to shorten that time between creation and release to basically gain the value, right? Farm the market, if you will. And that's what Wizards doing. They already know all these sets are lined up. They've been designed, put together, tested, all this stuff. All the R&D money's in, right? So think about it like an investment. You put money into it. You need to go harvest your crops. You got to go pull the money out. So of course, they're very interested in making sure those things land on the market on schedule and sell. But the thing that they may have to worry about is, look, if at some point they realize if we print, let's say 100,000 boxes, they're all going to be gone. We can sell at this price is pretty consistent. But if we can print 200,000 boxes, we may be left with 50K that may not sell. We have to warehouse it. It costs us X amount of money, whatever. And then they start making these mathematical equations and understanding of hey, what's going to happen? How much does it cost for us to inventory? Sure, we may be able to oversell or sell extra by 20K boxes, but is that enough money to pay for example, inventorying the rest of the boxes at, this price for this length of time, or selling to a market at a, much heavier discount, eroding the market, eroding trust, and making LGSs hate us, who are essentially the people who are actually pooling all of the products. Remember, you may go out to LGS and buy 1, 2, 3 draft boosters, but LGS is usually to fund and make sure everybody has access to product. They're ordering 10, 12, 24, 36 boxes at a time for each set. And that's just one order. And then they have to go reorder and all that stuff. So, and this is a small LGS. A bigger LGS are doing hundreds of boxes, maybe even thousands of boxes per set. So of course, Wizards not going to erode their trust because look, if the LGS is going to shell out, let's say $100 per draft booster box now with all the price increase and whatnot, or $150 for Dominaria Remastered, you better damn well make sure those boxes don't end up on Amazon for $110 or $80, right? What LGS is going to continue to do stupid things and lose money? There's no way. And then whenever a product goes on Amazon for $80, the LGS now has to hold back because now they have $100 boxes they can't even sell at cost. So either they're going to sell at a loss to raise capital to go buy the next set, or yeah. So I think Dominaria Remastered, pretty good set. I think it's also bottomed, basically. Look, if you can get a set for 170-ish, it's pretty good. I would take it. It's, honestly, that's pretty close to all the prices that I'm seeing out there. There's not much lower choices you have anyways. So the thing is this, look, if you like the set, if you like playing, like I've been recommending for the last 6 months or so, if it's a product you like, if it's a product that you love, something that you can enjoy, go buy the set. It really, the cost, that $20, $30, even if you pay a premium, it's not going to matter long term, right? But if you're investing in sets right now, my recommendation is be super cautious right now. It's not the right time to go invest in anything. Don't be bullish. If you want to pick up a couple boxes here and there, right, just to kind of sit on, or a case of this, case of that, that's fine. And because the reality is we never know. It may be Dominaria Remastered where, 3-6 months from now, we find out, you know what, that was the one print run, and because they printed enough, they're not going to print anymore. And everyone loved playing it, and the supply really just went and disappeared from the market. And guess what happens to the prices? So now your investment paid off. But again, I'm not here recommending people do any gambling, right? Because that's a gamble. But I know if you sit on Dominaria Remastered for, let's say, 3 to 5 years, yeah, it's probably going to be higher than 170. I can pretty much guarantee that it's going to be higher than 170, and maybe by quite a lot. I think you'll be fine. So that's what I would have to say on that. Mark Solo Games, I'm out. I'll see you later. And please go drop Dominaria Remastered. It looks like it's going to be fun, guys.